All right, so we just covered pseudo classes. Now it's time for pseudo elements. A lot of people confuse these, and honestly, it doesn't really matter terminology-wise, but they are distinct concepts. So pseudo elements are also things that we add on, sort of like modifiers to our selectors, but they are going to select a particular part of the selected elements. So we can style things like the first letter or the first line of some elements. There are nowhere near as many. I'm looking at MDN at pseudo elements. If you remember, there were quite a few pseudo classes. And also, if you look at these ones that have that little flask next to them, they're experimental and they should not be used in production code, is what MDN tells us. So that really cuts it down. There's only a handful of them. And generally, we use 2 semicolons to indicate a pseudo element. However, most browsers don't actually care. You could use 1. Let's take a look at first letter. First letter is how we can select the first letter of some selection. So I could select the first letter of every paragraph or of every, I don't know, span or something, and this is what we would end up with. So I'll try an example. Let's do the first letter of every H2 maybe in one of these titles. So that's an H2 inside of a post. I think we only have H2s in posts anyway, so I could do first dash letter. And let's make it bigger maybe. Font size, I don't actually know what font size they are right now, but sure. It's not that beautiful, but we can do that. And that's first letter of every H2 on the page. And before I forget, I'll just show you, if we leave off that second semicolon, it still works even though there's supposed to be 2 of them. Chrome is able to figure it out. So a lot of people do mix those up. They'll even use 2 semicolons for pseudo classes, which you're not really supposed to. But they all work, at least in Chrome. So I'm not saying you shouldn't care, but just you should know that some people do mix them up. So that's first letter. We also have things like first line. It does kind of what it sounds like. The first line of some, I don't really have much to do that on, but the first line of a paragraph. If I had a bunch of paragraphs in here, let's just add a paragraph with a bunch of lorem ipsum, lorem times 10. All right, and then I'll select paragraph, first, I already forgot my 2 semicolons there, first line. And let's go with a different color maybe. How about the first line will be purple. Refresh, and there you go. The first line of text, all of that is purple. And then one more we'll take a look at is selection. So this is going to apply to any part of the document that we have highlighted. It doesn't have to be any part of the document, but any part of some selected elements. As you can see here, we can change that style. And that's using the selection pseudo elements. So where would I want to do that? We'll just play around with this paragraph. So when you select that paragraph, selection, how about a background color of maybe just one of these colors? Let's pick a really nice bright one, maybe that yellow right there. Sure. Let's see what that looks like. So now we get this yellow selection. So I could also, if I wanted to apply this to the entire document, I could do that. And now everything I select is going to have that yellowish color. Or I could narrow it down like I did originally. So that is selection, first line, first letter. Those are examples of pseudo elements. We're selecting particular pieces, actual things on the page, rather than pseudo classes, which are states. If something's being hovered or active or checked, pseudo elements are things or parts of an element we're selecting. So that's it for our brief intro to pseudo elements. If you are the adventurous type, you could take a look at before and after. They are pretty interesting, somewhat useful pseudo elements. Do not feel like you need to go learn them right now. You've got a lot on your plate if this is all brand new to you, but I would be remiss if I ignored them entirely. So if you're curious, take a look, and that's it. I'm going away. Bye.